Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today we're starting with a new session, a BQH session with Lorrayne. I did not expect to be able to do one more session because I am in Italy and I'm trying to enjoy the last few weeks, last few days that I have in Italy, the last few weeks that we have here based on the timeline that the 25th has given us. But I really had a bunch of questions. And also you guys have asked me some questions that I really wanted to bring to the attention of the 25th. So I figured I would do this. And I'm going to make these videos a little bit longer than I usually do because I do want to make sure that these all come out before we're out of here. So hopefully you enjoy these. Before we move forward, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I have no idea why I'm even saying this anymore, since it doesn't really matter at this point, I guess. But it does, you know, it feels good. I mean, obviously this is not a huge channel. It feels good to know the stuff resonates. So normally that's what happens when people subscribe. So please do give a thumbs up to this video. And absolutely most important, leave me a comment below. Let me know if the stuff resonates with you, what you're going through, how this is all feeling, these energies are feeling to you, what's going on in your life. That's really what I'm mostly interested in. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to start reading here. So this being the beginning of the session, as you probably know by now, before we even start and before the hypnotist, in this case, Lorrayne, even asks questions, the 25th always brings me, as the hypnotist does the induction, always brings me a image, a picture, a message that is most important to them that they want me to know up front. And so in this case, we had a little bit of a surprise because normally the 25th is showing me stuff, is explaining stuff to me, but we had a cameo from someone else. All right. So Lorrayne, it's the 25th here, and is there a message that you want to share with us? Me. I become source or aware of my source nature again. And I am seeing myself looking at the whole that I have created, everything. And because I have awoken and I am now looking at everything, it's almost like I give it another spin. I can see this giant, like source is gigantic, and doing a little spin, like with a little thing, almost like when you have one of those little toys that spin, and I give it a little spin. I want to stop here for 1 second before continuing to report on this message. A couple of things here. The reason I say under hypnosis that I become source again is because if you've seen my previous video, the second video that I made about my plant medicine experience, I became source. So I felt as source. I became aware of my source nature. When I say I, it's not clear, obviously, we are all one. So all of us. And I witnessed the takedown, what happened when source willed the takedown. Again, it was looking at everything. It had awoken. So the words that came to me is I awoke from my slumber and I saw everything that I created. And I was like, this is not so great. And not in a judgmental manner, as in, you know, we are bad or us is bad or source is bad. But it was more like the analogy 25th gave us later when we asked about this was, it's like making a cake and it's not coming out the way you wanted it to. So you just do it better. You learn, you do it better. That's all. And so this is one thing they're referring to here. The other thing is that the image that I had was literally a giant, like you would see in a fairy tale, with a tiny little thing and like one of those spin top toys. And he was given it a tap. That's what it is. It was really, you know, when you give it a tap and it starts spinning again like that. It was that gentle, but it was that powerful because the spin top started going like, you know, much faster than it was doing before. All right, so let's continue. So again, it was saying here like source is gigantic and giving a little spin to something that looks like a spin top. It's like a new impulse has been put into the matrix so that an entire new game has started. So it's not just a game that has ended on this planet and continues on new Earth or starts on new Earth, but the entire multiverse has been re-energized, refreshed because of this game. Because I awoke And I realized that some of the stuff that had been going on was not to my liking, was not to my preference. So I have now created a new impulse for the multiverse to move forward that is going to be a lot more fun, a lot more, not positive, but a lot more entertaining, a faster game in that sense. It was almost like it was slowed down here. It was almost like a pocket, almost like when you have in your body, your circulation is not working perfectly. So you have parts of your body that might be cold because the blood is not really circulating properly. I have now re-energized the whole game so that the entire game works properly. And properly, of course, means, you know, the people will have to have, yes, the essences have to have fun, have to enjoy, but I've given it a new spark in that sense. So we are starting. It's not just that we are starting a new game here on this planet, is that we are starting a quote unquote new game everywhere in the matrix. And this is what this experiment is doing, this new Earth. It's a new game. It's a brand new game for the entire matrix, even though on the other planets, it looks like they're just continuing. They are not. They're also very much aware that everything is new. So things are accelerating and they are happening very differently than they were before, even in other parts of the multiverse. The entire multiverse is affected by the fact that I have changed because of what's happened on the old Earth, on this planet. I have changed things. And that's what they wanted us to know. It's not they, it's I am Source right now. I connected to Source, but yes, the 25th, of course, is here. Lorraine. Well, we, of course, always appreciate our source, our essence, our entirety, communicating with our entirety, our one. I appreciate that. Thank you. So what you're saying is a new ripple has been interjected into the entirety of the multiverse. And so every game being played is now elevated or altered. You said sped up so the frequency is higher, or can you clarify? Me. Yeah, so it's actually, the better word is energized. It's re-energized. It's almost like when you have one of those, I think they're called carousels, where you have to turn the key for the figurine to go around. And you give it a turn of the key and all of a sudden it starts. It was slowing down and now it starts moving faster again. So that's what's happened. I created a new spark of energy so that the entire game is now re-energized. It was losing steam. And this is why, so from our perspective in the multiverse, we have felt it like a lowering of vibration, because again, lower vibration means lower energy. I have now re-energized it. It's almost like a battery that's dying and you recharge it so the battery now can power things. So things can be powered with more power so they go faster, okay? This is what has been done, what I've done, so that we can have more fun. And the frequency has accelerated because of this. And of course, you know, we have talked about the fact that faster also means higher, but this wasn't just meant to be higher. To me, as source, it's just a matter of speed. So the faster frequencies by default in the reality, and they were laughing here because the word reality, there is no such thing, quote unquote, the reality of the matrix, they turn into higher vibration, but that's just a side effect of it. Really, what we're doing is simply, we have re-energized the matrix because it was becoming a little bit slow, a little bit dreadful. It was getting hung up. That's why we've experienced a lot of the denseness here. Everything moves so slowly here. It's like mud. Now that re-energizing, it's almost like you're taking away some of that denseness so things can happen quicker. And what I think about when I think of this, it's almost like if you have one of those toothbrushes that are battery operated, is as the battery is getting low, you can tell the toothbrush is just moving very slowly until eventually it stops, right? And you know it's going to stop if you don't recharge it. And that's what happens when you put it back in the plug and you recharge it, all of a sudden it goes really fast. That's the sensation that I got. That's what I understood that that happened here. So I thought that was super cool. Lorrayne, thank you. I felt it actually recently, feeling more energized. So before we get to Clea's questions, I'm going to ask my question because I don't want to forget it. And Clea suggested that I ask. So was the 25th your first experience or experiment in fractalizing to understand more of yourself? Me. Yes, so chuckling. They were chuckling. So it's a little bit hard. We don't really dwell in time. So it's hard to say the first. Everything kind of, lots of things happen at the same time. But in the sense that you were asking if it was one of the first, yes, it was. As soon as this idea penetrated of expanding, this choice of expanding and creating things that would help me forget, then yes, the 25th was a great creation. The 25th really, the 25th and the Matrix, because the Matrix came shortly thereafter. Basically, the goal of forgetting was in place very, very quickly. The goal of playing, because really the whole point of forgetting is playing, is believing in the game. The goal of, and he was laughing, I should say he, I mean, this was again a source, but again, it's all one, the 25th and source are all one, we are all one. So the goal of finding something to do came very, very quickly. So it's not a matter of the very first thing. There were many things that happened at the same time. There were many different realities that were created at the same time. But yes, the 25th was one of the very first. Lorrayne, so as source wanted to more sorry. So as source wanted to know more of ourselves, we just expanded out and created ideas to distract ourselves or learn more. From the perspective of boredom, I always struggle with this term, but I can see if we are infinite and we know all and we exist within a no space or in all space creating things to play with, this would be, and I interjected here as source and I said, fun. And I was laughing. Whoever I was being in that moment was laughing. All right. Lorrayne, very emergent. She was trying to finish her phrase. It's like, this would be very emergent or an urgent thing to do, basically, a need that comes up immediately. Me, yes, and that's what it is. It's not so much a need as a desire. The desire arose very, very early. Again, if you want to think in terms of time, it was almost one with eternity. As you experience eternity at the same time, because it's all happening at the same time, you quickly develop this desire for something different. Not so much because you have to escape it necessarily, because really these worlds, these entire games last no time really. They're nothing in comparison to eternity, but because it's the contrast that we're interested in. It's a contrast with it makes us understand more and even appreciate eternity. So the two things go hand in hand. If you can say two things, there is no duality. But the two things, if you want to use human language, the two things go hand in hand because really one is part of the other. They're both part of the same coin. It's not even like two sides of a coin. They're the same side of the coin. and he was laughing. They are the same thing. You are eternal and you want to be aware of your eternity. And to be aware of your eternity, you must believe in something or pretend to believe in something that is ephemeris. And so the two things are actually supporting each other and making each other more complete, better in that sense. Not better in terms of quality, obviously, better as in more meaningful, more, what is a good word? More compelling. That's what it is. You feel more. And all we want to do really at the end of the day, we want to feel. That's it. That's what it means when we say we want to experiment, want to experience. We just want to feel. Lorrayne, thank you. Thank you very much for that clarity. Okay, I'm going to move on to Clea's questions. You said that it will take 100 years for people going to hang out with the aliens to heal enough to come to New Earth. Will it take the same amount of time for everyone? And how come it takes that long when many of us going to New Earth directly from old Earth may have only had 20, 30, 40 years here to align with New Earth. Me. So we see about 100 years. It doesn't have to take a specific, there's no magic in the number 100. On average, it will take 100 years. The reason for this has nothing to do with the sense in which the question was asked, which is, why is it taking them so long? What's wrong with them? And they were laughing. Whereas we could have done this, we did this, some of us did this here in 10 years, 15 years, 30 years. No, the reason that's happening is because the people going to hang out with the aliens, they actually do want to experience hanging out with the aliens. They do want to go through that. They're giving themselves some time to enjoy that before they go to New Earth. So it's not that they are slower, it's what they want to take that time, is that they want to take that time. So that's what's happening. And yeah, when we chose here, people who did choose directly, immediately to go to New Earth, they just happened to be, they were aligned, or they had just chosen that from the beginning. The takedown could have happened when a person was 3 years old. It could have happened like Clea's daughter's age, she's 6. But it happened to happen when, for example, Clea is 50. But it could have happened 20 years ago. The takedown is happening when it's happening. So it's not a matter of how many years. It's a matter of what is your choice. So you might have more or less time to experience that alignment, but the alignment really has happened when you chose. So it doesn't have to take X amount of time. And same for the people going with the aliens. They're not taking 100 years because they're slowpokes. They're taking 100 years, again, on average, because that will give them enough time to grow through the experience they're gonna have. And again, not grow as in they're fixing anything, but to ponder, to have time to ponder things and experience things while they're hanging out with the aliens. Because they might want to believe that a med bed is what's making them younger. A med bed is curing them. They want to experience that, and they want time to do that. They don't want to go there for 6 weeks, 6 months, a year. They want to go there for a certain amount of time. And we said this before, 100 years is the equivalent of 25 years. So really the amount of time that it would take probably the average person here to get bored with something. So you're starting a career, you work in it for 20, 25, 30 years, and then you're like, I'm ready to experience something new. That's all. They're experiencing something new before moving to New Earth, and it will bring a lot of value with them because of that. This is something else that we're going to have the opportunity to integrate. It's going to be great. So everybody's going to bring their experience to New Earth. I am so excited, guys. I'm just so excited about this whole thing. All right, Lorrayne. So in essence, they're not actually going to hang out with the aliens to heal. They're just going for the experience to expand us even further for their own enjoyment, their own essence's enjoyment. Me. Correct. Everybody's doing the same. Everybody's enjoying everything we're doing for fun. The people going to 3D, they're doing the same thing. They went there for their own enjoyment. And this is the whole point of whatever we're doing. We're not going to New Earth because we are better than anybody else. We're going to New Earth because we think that's fun and we don't want to wait. We just want to go now. We are not better, Lorrayne. We're choosing to go to New Earth, and one of the aspects of New Earth is us transmuting all of the density we've experienced out of our collective awareness. Is that correct? Me. That is absolutely correct. And we are glad that you brought that up, because Clea used to be extremely concerned with this aspect of New Earth. She was extremely concerned with having to encounter, to see, to feel the darkness that's happened here. And now she realizes it's going to be a lot easier work than she thought, a lot easier. Because what's happening is not only we are here transforming very, very quickly and clearing faster and faster, even as we are still here, but we are also, because of this, when we get to New Earth, we are going to understand much quicker, and we just can't wait. We knew, while on a conscious level, we might worry about knowing what's been going on out there. The truth is, we always knew. So at an essence level, we always knew that on New Earth, we just look at it and be like, oh, this is what it was, and move on. Now, It doesn't mean everyone will have the easiest time to deal with this. We're not saying that it might not take somebody, years to deal with something. But most of us, we're going to move through this very quickly. It's actually going to be really fun. And again, there's been an acceleration, even a further acceleration in the entire multiverse. The energy has changed in the entire multiverse in that sense. And actually, this relates to a follow-up question that Clea's had, that she's been thinking about for the past few days, which is why we at the 25th level decided to propagate and make available this information before going to New Earth. Her question had to do with the fact she wanted to know why we didn't just wait till we got to New Earth to be aware of the 25th, to be aware that we are gods. Because then we don't need any explanations. Everybody's aware of it. 3.5 million people. You don't have to tell anybody. It's already clear. Not only we're living proof that it's all true. Why did the 25th? Why did we decide to give you this information before moving to New Earth? This would have happened anyway, whether you knew the information or not. This would have happened anyway. The takedown would have happened anyway. Now, we said before, one of the reasons was that there's coding in the information we're giving that is allowing a lot of people to have more clarity as to how to get to New Earth. But there is another reason. And the reason is that you've had time during this chaos, this breaking down of the 3D reality. You have had time, and the energy was quickening. The energy was accelerating. You've had time to do part of the work. You might not be aware of the extent to which you have already done a lot of the work. And this will put you light years ahead. And we're saying light years in metaphorical terms, in terms of how long it's going to take you to clear stuff once you get to New Earth. So even though you might not realize, you're doing huge amounts of work that will accelerate your clearing. You're recalibrating on New Earth. So really, we just get to move that much faster because of this. And I have to tell you guys, this completely resonated with me because of this information. I have done huge amounts of work. I have had incredible breakthroughs, one after the other, stuff that I've always skirted in my life, and it would have taken me years if I had any hope of even getting my head wrapped around. All of a sudden, I will clear it in 24 hours. It will come up. I will feel the feelings. I'll go through it, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, that's how it is. It is incredible. It is so liberating. So I can see how it's going to be even that much faster and quicker on New Earth, especially when we can pull from the collective in terms of breakthrough, because we're all building on each other's breakthrough. I mean, amazing. Lorrayne, thank you. I've already done this. I have a tendency to have the ability to be detached from things without going into emotionality. And I've noticed, particularly in the last 6 months, my ability to have awareness of what's going on from a judgment level, that it's really, really evil, but yet be able to be detached from it emotionally so that I can be aware of that. So I comprehend what our experience will be on New Earth, this awareness of clearing these things and clearing it here. So thank you for that clarity. You will add much value to the collective, Lorrayne. You have done a lot of work that's extremely relevant. You were very clear on what you were going to have ready to offer on New Earth. And you are going to be able to help a lot of people calibrate much quicker than they would have done otherwise. So I'm really looking forward to being neighbors with Lorrayne. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay, next question. Will there be any people on New Earth who have taken the thing? I almost said the word. Although, to tell you the truth, guys, I don't even think this censorship stuff, this algorithm stuff is working anymore. Everything is breaking down. I know you guys have seen it. In reality, I actually have questions in the session about that as well. Nothing works the way we thought it worked anymore. Everything is empty. So everything that you see that looks like it's supposed to be dark, there's nothing behind it to support it. So it's interesting how things feel right now. In fact, I would love to hear your feedback on this, see what you noticed. So, okay, will there be any people on New Earth who have taken the thing, or does aligning with New Earth mean that a person will never take it? There will be people who have taken it. Not many, but there will be people. And Clea actually has already answered this question because we already gave her the answer when she was, they were laughing, writing it down. But somebody asked this question under one of our videos and she already intuited the answer. And again, when I answer your questions under the videos, oftentimes 25th telling me, or as I start writing, they're telling me yes, 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 you know, or giving me more stuff. Basically, it is correct that there will be a handful of people who have taken the thing. This is because they wanted to experience, they wanted the experience so that they can share it. On New Earth, we're going to benefit from everybody's experience. So this was an experience we wanted to have, and so we are grateful. And yes, so there will be aligning with New Earth does not exclude the fact that you might have done things that we hear in a 3D manner associated with sleeping or doing something wrong. You know, we judge, we love judging, or doing something dark or whatever it is. Doesn't mean you're on the team of the dark, but you could have been in the middle, and people in the middle can also go to New Earth. I mean, if that is their choice, and many have. And now we have said that because of this alignment, a lot of people have been more of the light or hovered more towards the light. It doesn't mean that they have not done, we have talked about this, there is no time. You and I, you and Clea have done dark things. It's all happening now. So yes, going to New Earth doesn't mean that you're just of the light and never done anything of the dark and never done anything that we would consider very silly, probably unadvisable. There are reasons for doing these things. At the end of the day, it's all experience. So yes, there will be a handful of people who have taken the thing, and some really, all of them may have realized that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't necessarily a great choice. So it's all experience, right? All right, I'm going to close this here and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take care.